Today on Dodson's Corner, we are going over our top 10 dumbest decisions in UFC history.
This is things that ruined someone's career, ruined our personal parlays.
There's just, it's a lot of stupid, dumb, terrible things on this list.
Exactly.
But it's also going to be pretty funny.
Yeah. Did you rank it in any order?
I ranked it from 10 to 1,
All
but
right.
did you?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
We'll just get right into it.
Yeah. Well, and if you have one that we might have some similar ones.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's some very famous things, but
Yeah.
also I think I was kind of unique with some of them.
Okay.
But can I start off with 2 honorable mentions?
Okay.
All right. My first honorable mention is Steve Erceg fighting Brandon Moreno in March. Why, Steve? Just get a win.
Yeah.
Just get a win. You have no shot against Brandon Moreno at this point.
It's crazy how much they're letting him fight up, you know?
It's like, what are you doing? If they cut him?
No, they would never, like, I don't know what the reasoning is for giving someone who's on a 2-fight skid.
At the 8th ranked spot, number 2.
Yeah.
An easy fight for Moreno just to make sure that he's ready for,
The loser of,
I don't know.
the
Weird.
loser of KKF and.
Yeah, it's weird. Everything about that was weird.
Yeah.
And my second honorable mention is me thinking Ikram Alaskarov could beat Robert Whittaker
Yeah.
at UFC Saudi Arabia. I switched it purely for the fact that I needed to, but I actually did think Ikram could have had a chance.
It's that Dagestani aura. Sometimes it gets to you.
And he was like, short notice, go into there, beat Rob. No, it was the worst prediction I've ever had.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
It was terrible.
That's up there with me predicting Yuri Prohaska in the second Pereira fight.
Ooh,
Those were both awful.
that was bad. But Lucas, let's get into what's your first one?
My first one, like the one that made me think of this video, is Volk short notice versus Makhachev.
Yeah, that's what I had at 1.
Yeah.
It's the most iconic, dumbest decision.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's tough because you never know if there's a different outcome.
Yeah.
That it's maybe not the dumbest decision, but the way that fight went too.
Yeah.
If the same thing happened in the second fight that happened in the first fight, I wouldn't call it like the dumbest decision of all time. That's just Volk taking his shot. But the way that it played out, it's like, oof.
It's not just like the decision to take that fight. It's the decision to take that fight and then the outcome of that fight, first round head kick, brutal KO with a lot of ground and pound follow up when he was already out cold. And then take another fight 2 months or 3 months down the road when you didn't really recover from that first KO.
Yeah.
It's like that whole storyline.
It's just, Volk last year.
Yeah, Volk last year.
2025, new man. He's leaving that in the past.
Yeah, unless he gets KO'd again.
Oh, that's real likely. Depends who he fights, though.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. Do you want to give me your first one, I guess?
Yeah, I'll give you one. This one is another recent one. There's some recency bias here, all right? But it's Bryce Mitchell starting a podcast. I can't stop talking about it.
Yeah, this is
like one of the stupid, idiotic, potentially could have destroyed his career. Like
in any other sport.
Yeah. Just because there's players who have gotten banned from professional sports for saying a lot worse things.
Mm-hmm.
Or sorry, a lot less than what Bryce Mitchell came out and said.
Yeah.
And it's just ongoing with him. Ongoing weird stuff. And it's like, I get that as a UFC fighter, you're an individual, so you kind of have to brand yourself and represent yourself. But if this was any team sport, he'd be cut from the team. And I'm surprised that he wasn't cut. Because it's not like it's Bryce Mitchell, some guy who's put on exciting fights. He's just literally farm jitsu.
Yeah.
He's not putting on good fights.
And he's not an undefeated prospect anymore, so.
Yeah, I was surprised he didn't get cut. I actually thought it was coming, but.
I guess if he did get cut, that would be Dana going against what he stands for. But at a certain point.
It's just stupid.
Yeah.
If he loses the next fight, I could see him getting cut.
Yeah, then they have a reason to.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Definitely one of the most interesting decisions. I'm sure his co-host regretted starting that as well. His co-host is like, why do I have to be associated with this? All right, my next one, it has to be Erceg going to the ground in round 5 against Pantoja.
Oh, that's a good one that I didn't think of.
Yeah.
The thing is with this is there's so many that I didn't think of, and then there's probably gonna be ones on my list that you didn't think of.
Well, I didn't have Bryce Mitchell starting a podcast on mine. I'll tell you that. But just the fact that not Bryce Mitchell, Steve Erceg could have been champion if he didn't go to the ground and won that 5th round. Just the decision making, and I'm sure he's gonna learn from that. It's good experience going 5 rounds with the champion who's the best flyweight in the world right now.
And you really saw it in the follow-up fights.
Yes, yeah, the Kaikar France fight, he really showed
that,
levels.
that conditioning.
Yeah, but I mean, hey, if he beats Brandon Moreno, cinema. We're back.
We are so...
I just don't think, like, how is it going to happen?
It's a stupid fight.
How does he compete on the ground with Moreno?
Yeah, and on the feet even. Like,
yeah. I'd say on the feet, like, I don't think Moreno has the power, but it's not...
volume.
It's not an easy fight.
It's his style.
Yeah.
He's so weird.
Yeah.
You know?
Mexico City headliner. Respect for Steve for... What's he doing to this company, man? Like, he's in the back door.
He's doing something today.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right. My next one is a very personal one. And I don't know if everyone else agrees with this. But the UFC hiring Joey Martinez as their like fight night announcer.
Oh.
He is terrible. I actually don't like watching fight nights because I have to listen to him.
Yeah.
I can't stand the guy. He is so infuriating to listen to. It's just something about his voice. Like we have UFC, the top mixed martial arts promotion in the world. How can you not find anyone better than Joey Martinez? You know,
that's valid.
Like, how can you not find anyone than this boring ass Hispanic guy who rolls his R's? That's all he's got.
Yeah,
he rolls his R's. There's no R's in Makachev and all these Dagestani names. You know, like
yeah, it's a one trick kind of guy.
Yeah,
he's a pretty bad announcer. Not even announcer, I guess. What do you call that? Bruce Buffer. Yeah, announcer.
Announcer.
Yeah.
Ring announcer.
Yeah. Surely you can find someone else that's an imitator of Bruce Buffer.
Yeah, I could get in there and start hopping around.
Not you.
Yes.
Not you.
It's time.
The fighters would be pissed. All right, my next person, it's going to be Pavlovich taking on short notice Tom Aspinall.
Oh, yeah, it's another one I don't have, but like...
Ruined his career.
Yeah.
Ruined his aura. I don't know if it was like maybe his career ruined because I don't want to call it his first knockout loss, but it might have been his first knockout loss. And you can recover from that easily. You take some time off, but it's the fact that he came back and had one of the worst performances in heavyweight recent history in the last couple of years. It just completely destroyed his confidence, I think. We've seen it in the last fight as well, even against Rosenstrike. You know, he's not that same killer that he was. So, yeah, just kind of ruined his fan perception. I think ruined a lot of his hype and momentum. And, you know, he might never get back to that title shot.
And it's tough because, you know, we can come now in hindsight and say that it was a huge mistake for these guys to take these short notice fights.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, if they don't take it, we gripe on them. You know?
Yeah,
sometimes you just got to take that shot. But like, it's more so about the way that the aftermath has played out after these short notice fights, the way that their career has played out.
It's hindsight.
Afterwards. All right, this is these some of mine aren't specifically fighter related, but the UFC getting rid of short sponsors. Because I like uniqueness. I hate when every single, like, we have 6 pairs of shorts and you pick them, and then, you know, a couple people got custom shorts now. But like the days when they had short sponsors, you were just able to be more personable. And that's like one thing about the UFC right now is nobody just seems like personable. Like, we're just sending the same guys out there, guy after guy. You know, we have like 8 trillion of the same Dagestani unranked guys, you know, and every Brazilian guy is the same, you know? Like, it's like, let's mix it up. Let's add some personality to some people, you know? And obviously these lower end guys aren't going to have like crazy sponsorships, but like, and it gives them more freedom to do stuff with their shorts too.
Yeah.
And just add more personality to the fighter.
Yeah. It's such an easy thing for Dana to include.
It's all about the ESPN deal. It's why there's no short sponsors. When they signed that deal, they got rid of the shorts with the custom shorts.
If they move away from ESPN in April and move to Netflix.
But whoever they go to is probably going to want to have their own ads is the only thing with it.
Yeah. I just think it's something like Dana could negotiate where it's like he doesn't pay them as much. Like, as crazy as that sounds, I know fighter pays bad right now, but it's kind of like YouTube videos where it's like the real money comes from sponsorships. Ad revenue doesn't really do that much for most YouTube businesses. I would imagine it would be the same thing for sports. Sports. Like, the base pay is not good.
I mean, if you're world class, you know, like the best athletes in the world are getting stupid money, but at the same time, they're also getting stupid money in sponsorship.
Yeah, and it's like as a smaller, like, Okay, let's take a hometown hero, Mike Malott.
Yeah.
Right? He could have local
Timmy's.
Toronto.
Yeah, get Timmy's on those shorts.
Yeah, he could have local sponsorships because it's a well-known-ish fighter. But he's never getting 200,000 a fight. He's not getting 400,000 a fight.
Yeah.
Right? But if he has sponsorships, he could get an extra 50K.
Yeah.
So I just think it's such a win-win way for the UFC to pay their fighters more without them having to do anything.
Yeah, and it also helps. I mean, like you were saying, it would help with the whole thing that like fighter pay really isn't that good.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly. All right, I'll move on to my next pick. I have Peter Yan illegally kneeing Aljo.
Ooh.
Another one where career took a downturn after that. I mean, it was up and down, and then he had that kind of skid for a little bit, and now he's back. It was just tough because we think his career has been going on for so long, and he's still only 31, but it feels like he's kind of past his prime already, even though he's 31. It really feels like he missed out on that title reign. And you were talking about a stat where it's like, once you've had the belt, you hardly ever get it back.
Yeah.
Which is so interesting. Even though Peter Yan, Sean O'Malley, like they're both still so good and at the highest level of bantamweight.
It's just so tough to get it back.
It's still really unlikely that they're ever going to get that belt back, especially with Merab, where Merab 50-45'd Peter Yan and won against Sean O'Malley, and it's a bad stylistic matchup. So yeah, it's just he had his opportunity, and I believe he was winning that fight against Aljo.
Yeah, he was.
And then it's
stupid.
done.
It's like I have watched that clip back so many times, and I genuinely just don't understand what he was doing.
Yeah.
It's like, did he just like just have a lapse of judgment? Like, did he just like black out? Like, it really just doesn't make sense.
Must have been, yeah.
Yeah. I have an illegal move on here. John Jones's 12-6 illegal elbow versus Matt Hamill. You know, it's inside of the ring. It's one of the few little specks on the GOAT's resume. You know, there's other things that, you know, outside of the ring, we're not talking about that. Inside of the ring, there's very few things that you can hold against John Jones, and this is one of them, even though it's not a real loss, you know?
Yeah.
It's a disqualification, illegal elbow loss from an elbow that's now legal, you know? Mm-hmm. So it's like, why, you know? Probably thought he was John Jones. He'll get away with it. Dana will do whatever it takes. And he got caught, and it just kind of, just imagine, you know.
It probably also depends on the ref, you know, like a different ref.
Because it's also so hard to call a 12-6 elbow because you're like, actually, that was an 11-5.
Exactly. It's weird. It's so subjective. All right, I'll move on to my next one. I actually did have Bryce Mitchell starting a podcast.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't even realize that. Armin trying to impress Nina and breaking his back. I know that's not technically what happened, but that whole back injury situation, if that was what it really is, I think it's just funny, the clip of him like doing the head circles and then like grabbing his back and being like, oh shit.
Imagine that was real and Uncle Dana saw that.
I mean, he definitely saw the clip, but
yeah, but like if that was like the real everything,
trying to impress the huzz, it's so embarrassing.
Dana would be so pissed.
Yeah. Well, is it his fault? Is it Nina's fault? Like,
it's on the fighter. You have to be accountable for your own body.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, he lost his title shot. He's not gonna get an instant title shot again. If
they give him Michael Chandler, I'm gonna be so pissed. Like,
the worst matchup ever.
Like, that is like,
why does Michael Chandler get another shot at a number one contender spot?
Yeah,
like so dumb.
The guy who beat the guy that Chandler got like destroyed by.
Yeah. It makes no sense. What is Chandler doing?
Him and Usyk, they're part of this exclusive club.
We should do a video. I think we already did do Dana White privilege video.
But we could do like a top 10.
Like favored fighters.
Yeah, like get fighters with Dana White privilege. All right, this is one that you're going to like, Lucas. Anyone fighting at City Kickboxing in 2025? Tell us about this.
I made this prediction, or I made this statement where City Kickboxing is having the craziest fall off, and it hasn't missed yet. Every single fighter that's fought from City Kickboxing that I know of has lost as soon as I've said that. Obviously, we had Adesanya, which is the big one recently. But then even on the last card, both Kevin Jousset and Colby Thickness both lost. And Kevin Jousset was a pretty big favorite going up against someone who's making their debut, Mikalev. So I didn't expect Kevin Jousset to lose. And then I remembered he was from City Kickboxing. I was like, oh, now it all makes sense. I mean Ulberg, like Ulberg's gonna lose.
Look up to Ulberg versus Blachowicz.
Yeah, I'm picking Blachowicz in that fight. Like the fall off is just crazy, man.
Yeah.
I look at their gym and I'm like, how does the morale feel right now?
Yeah, like someone win. It's like Canadians, man.
Honestly. This one is something that was good for the fans and good for the whole UFC, but it wasn't good for this one fighter's career and maybe started a bit of a downturn. Talking about City Kickboxing, Israel Adesanya, when he lost to Alex Pereira, the one interview where he called out or mentioned Alex Pereira sitting in a bar saying, I beat that guy one time, that was the worst UFC career decision that he could have made. Because after he got TKO'd by Alex Pereira, he went win one and then lost 3 now.
Yeah.
3 in a row.
It's crazy that he beat Pereira and then just fell off from there. Like the toughest fight was the one that he won.
Yeah, used all of his anime magic.
Everything he had.
Yeah.
Every last bit of style bender aura, style bender power went into that Pereira fight.
I guess it is matchups though, like the stylistic matchups.
Yeah,
Pereira's a kickboxer, and then everyone else he's fought has been more.
But
boxing.
Strickland, like that Strickland loss is still one of the worst losses of all time.
Yeah. One of the worst upsets of all time.
Yeah, but like for Adesanya to lose that fight the way he did, it's just like, after coming off the win over Pereira.
Yeah. I will say he takes it well, though. He takes a loss well.
He does.
You know, he never complains or makes excuses. Even his coaches didn't make excuses.
Yeah, like even because I think immediately Adesanya was a little bit like, oh, you stopped that a little early, but his coach was like, you're dead on the ground. Like,
well, and also are you talking about Imavov?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Izzy and Mark Goddard met at the last fight night.
Okay.
Or not fight night, but pay-per-view. And he said, like, oh, it was a good stoppage. Izzy said that.
Yeah. So. Like Izzy, you were down on the ground like this. Like, you were in turtle. Yeah. You were in turtle. In jiu-jitsu, they teach you to do that when you're fighting for your life. So
it's weird. He actually said that the first Pereira stoppage he thought was early. When he couldn't, he was like just like this up against the fence. It looked like he was KO'd standing on his feet. He said that one he thought was early, but the Imavov one wasn't early. So I don't know.
Matured man.
I think he just wants out.
My next one, another one that I'm passionate about, more so promotion based, but UFC not going back to like old school pre-COVID press conferences.
Yeah.
Press circuits suck now. They suck. Let's get 12 fighters on a panel. Let's actually give the commentators like to ask real questions, not these boring, terrible, just same questions every single press conference to the 4 fighters up there. We had a pay-per-view where there's 4 people in the press conference.
Yeah.
There's 4 people. And then like also like the presser tours, like let's see some of those videos, like where we're getting these face-to-faces, Let's do more to hype up these fights, We can't just rely on the fighters themselves to hype up these fights. You think about fights that actually had hype behind them. It's all from the fighters doing it themselves outside of the UFC. The UFC isn't doing jack to hype up these fights. And it's like, why not? Why not?
Yeah.
Fans want to see it. Fans will watch it. You'll get views on YouTube. You'll get views on whatever from these press conferences because the fans will actually want to watch them.
Yeah.
I have no desire to watch a press conference. I'll watch clips. I ain't going to watch the whole thing. You went back to old school press conferences, I'd watch the whole thing.
I hate that they only have 4 fighters up there at UFC 312. And that's part of it is the pay-per-views just aren't as high quality anymore. Like 312 only had 4 ranked fighters on it, the top of the card, which is crazy for a pay-per-view. I've heard lots of people saying like, oh, they should go back to less pay-per-views in a year, but I don't know if I like that. Like I think they do have the
14 is a good number.
Yeah, or even 12 like once a month.
Yeah.
But like don't do it every couple of months. Like there's way too many fighters on the roster.
Yeah, there's so many people who don't even fight.
Yeah.
We think about Zhang Weili, she just co-main. She hadn't fought in almost a year. She's the champ,
Yeah, for sure. And she could main event like a big fight night card.
Yeah.
It's so weird how they used to do actual championships on fight nights. And now they never I can't. When was the last time they had a championship on a fight night? Let me know in the comments.
Oh man, I couldn't tell you.
Yeah. Next thing I have is Anderson Silva taunting Chris Weidman.
Okay.
He should not, bro. The chin of Anderson Silva holding up for the first two shots and then just out like a light. It's the craziest fall off ever because he was 37, still like absolutely dominating everyone. And then that one loss, absolutely wild. I'm just playing it back in my head, and it doesn't feel real. You know?
I have an Anderson Silva thing ranked in my 2.
He was
spot.
outclassing Chris Weidman the whole time.
And then he
just got clipped.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I have Anderson Silva not retiring earlier. You know, in his last 7 fights in the UFC, he went 1-6. You know, and it truly destroyed his legacy. You know, he could have afforded to lose a couple of fights at the end of his career, but the way that you go 1-6, it totally taints his reputation.
Dude, he's literally prime Izzy.
Yeah, like it's literally the same fighter. It's the same fighter, and it probably drops Anderson Silva on the all-time list. You know. Just because, you know, I think we both take like strength of opponent and resume into account more so than like the numbers. But like the 1-6 that's get at the end, it's like, why?
Yeah.
Why do that to yourself? And then everything he's done after.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's just like, dude, just fighting for that bag. That's all he cares about.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Okay, let's see what I have next.
I got 2 more.
Okay, same.
Yeah.
I'm going to get out of the way. Justin Gaethje taking on Max Holloway. And then as a bonus, specifically for you, the fact that it ruined your parlay. The predictions that we had where you said Max Holloway by decision, and then with 1 second left, obviously it was a KO. That's a part of the storyline for Dawson's
Hall of Fame
Corner.
moment.
Yeah, it's a Hall of Fame moment for Dawson's Corner. You can't forget it.
Yeah, that legendary. And like, yeah, I mean, Justin, how do you lose that fight? Even though I had Holloway. But
yeah, exactly. It's because I was hyping up Justin too much. And then
this is one that I added, but I'm like, it's still confusing for me because like in reality, this guy probably doesn't even get used inside of the UFC, even though they need him bad. But the UFC letting Francis Ngannou leave for the PFL.
Yeah.
You know, like it's such a move that's like Francis would be awesome still inside the UFC. What would they do with Francis? Let me know what he would be doing. Fighting for the interim belt?
Yeah.
If Jones ain't fighting Tom, I doubt he's fighting Francis.
Definitely not. It's a weird one because their relationship is so bad.
So bad.
But Francis would bring so much life into heavyweight. Even like a Francis Pavlovich, a Francis Gane.
So many fights you can make.
Yeah.
You know, he can go there and just knock out everyone.
Well, not everyone.
He's
old now, bro.
Yeah, but he'd knock out Pav.
Yeah. Pavlovi.
He'd knock out Volkov. He'd knock out Gane.
Or you just have the most boring fight of all time with Pavlovich. They're both just too timid to strike.
No.
Yeah,
Ngannou brings him to the ground.
Yeah, that's true. Last one, Makayev.
Oh, getting cut or that whole fight situation?
No. The Makayev specifically pissing off the UFC. One of the dumbest career moves he could have made. I don't know what. No one knows what he did exactly. It's just being difficult with the matchmakers, I guess. And
wait, I thought for a second Makayev was Georgian. He's English, but he's Dagestani English, right?
Yeah, something like
he's like an Imavov.
Yeah, he's like an Imavov type
type beat.
Yeah,
Imavov type beat. That Euro Daggy.
That sounds like a style of music, actually. Euro Daggy. Yeah, it's now he's fighting for the GFL. So
is he in the GFL?
No, he's not. But he's close. He's getting close.
Where is he fighting? 1?
Yeah, but he's only had 1 fight, I think. It's just
1-1.
1-1. Yeah, 1-1. UFC is the premier fighting league. You cannot make any sort of money compared to the UFC.
No.
And for your career, like he was an undefeated guy who was going to be moving up to his next fight probably would have been for a top 5 spot.
Yeah, he was 1 fight away from the belt.
Yeah, literally. So
especially with the way like Muhammad Makayev's at, or sorry, like Manel Kape's at right now.
Yeah,
it's like he's in a number 1 contenders, or he was.
And how there's no matchups for Pantoja. Like,
yeah,
you screwed yourself.
Yeah. All right, my final thing. It's pretty legendary. UFC thought they were doing something amazing, and then in hindsight, it aged real bad. Trading Demetrius Johnson for Ben Askren.
Yeah. Oh. I guess I didn't even think about that. That's the worst.
Yeah. Like, you trade away a top 3 fighter of all time for Ben Askren, who
a top 2 fighter of all time.
Who, by the time he got to the UFC, I don't know what happened. If he just got the bag and didn't care, but he looked so bad. He looked like a drunk, fat idiot.
He's kind of like not to get political here, he's kind of like the UFC version of Joe Biden. You know what I mean? He always looks like he's sleepy.
He's just like fat, just doesn't care.
Yeah,
He just looks like he actually genuinely doesn't care.
Exactly. Disinterested.
Yeah.
But do you think it was worth it to get that Masvidal clip?
I mean, by the time they traded DJ, he had lost his belt to Cejudo.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Who knows how much he would have done more he would have done inside of the UFC.
Yeah.
All right, that's going to wrap it up for us today. Go down to those comments. Let us know what you think the dumbest decision in all of UFC history is. While you're down there, make sure you guys are liking and subscribing. We appreciate all the love and support. And we'll see you guys next time. Peace.
See ya.